Three, two. Oh, it's recording. Damn it. Hello. This is Office Hours 15, so we can do this. This one's easy math because there's only 5 of us here today. So let's hold those fingers up. I hope everyone's got that. Lauren, odd way to do it, Lauren, but I'll take it. Thank you for joining. This is Office Hours 15. Cannot believe that it's 15 weeks. I feel old. This year is weird and long and short all at the same time, but pleasure to be here with you all. We're missing one wonderful member who's been joining us recently in the past. Leon, we miss you, friend. Hope everything's going well, and the responsibilities that you've shared with us about why you're not here are important. So take care of that. And this is Office Hours every 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Friday. We get together, we chat, we share, we reflect, we learn together, and we have a great time. So very excited to be doing this every week. Let's maybe take a quick minute to do the introduction. I don't want to start this time. I always start and I'm talking right now. So I'm going to look at who's not on mute. Lauren, I got you. Hi. Yeah. Who are you, Lauren?
Oh, I'm Lauren. I do the accounting, staff account kind of stuff. So a lot of bookkeeping, lots of HR work, lots of admin work, finance, and just a whole bunch of stuff.
Big responsibilities. Okay. This guy with earphones on. Tim, that's you.
Hi there, software engineering, and it's we're creating 𝗕ecie 𝗙, and it's been a great couple of weeks last weeks with a lot of feedback that we received from our end customers. It was great to be working closely with our transcribers. Shout out to them.
Happy to have them here. That's all.
Hello, everyone. What's up here? I'm CTO at 𝗕cie 𝗙. I'll talk about, there's a question Hitens asked on Twitter yesterday about what makes you to work at the startup, or why are you working at the startup? And I put a couple of points. It was like very point to point, which was one of them is like, you can make a real impact for the society and for the people around you. You will never get bored with the same work because you're not doing the same thing again and again. You always going one level up. So that's a challenging part. The third one was like you can do a lot of experiments and you can learn throughout the process. So that's not the static thing you do. It's a dynamic thing. You learn through the process. And another one was there's an opportunity to always be creative, and you can find the solution in the better way. So there's not always a one options. You can find a solution that can be for the software, marketing, sales, anything. So you always can stay creative. So that's why I'm working at 𝗕cie 𝗙.
That's 𝗨𝗪, everyone. Wonderful. Wow. 𝗕𝗨.
Hi, I'm 𝗕𝗨, digital strategist here, and I'm responsible for all the new illustrations on the website.
Wow, yeah, you did a wonderful job. We call him Nice Shirt 𝗕𝗨.
Nice shirt, 𝗕𝗨. That can be a new theme every Friday.
New theme.
And lastly, I'm Tyler Bryden. What do I care about? I guess I'll say that. It's like, I want to help people self-growth, self-understanding, and have a large love for voice technology and language, and feel privileged and blessed to align these things in my life and work with great people. That's all. I often wonder why you work in a startup, so it was great to hear that. Appreciate you sharing. There was a great moment today, and we'll briefly talk about this because this is a public thing now, but announced this partnership with MindCure, who is a public company serving healthcare and psychedelics that's growing infinitely. We're seeing their team just blow up in real time, and it's been an amazing thing. And they're leveraging what we've built at 𝗕cie 𝗙 to manage and analyze the media that's being done in their research, and then also as things move towards decriminalization and legalization, also more of a consumer offering, and managing the audio, video, and text, and then all the language analysis in that process. Today was a great moment because we were at a call with team on the implementation side of stuff. I'm like, I had no idea what any of this stuff was, and yet it was taken care of. 𝗪𝗁 was confident, they were confident, everything was working, and that felt like a new stage of our own company where it's not necessarily that there's divisions and departments, but there's a valuable offering and need and technical work being done that was done without any idea of myself that is valuable. So that, thank you. It's great to have that taking place. I'm not sure if you have any thoughts, but just very also nice for us to see what was a proof of concept for many years for us of the need for our technology, the transcription, the natural language processing, why we built a front-end application to prototype and demo this, but then also built APIs in parallel to then work with an organization, all coming together. So I'm not sure if you have any thoughts. It was a big partnership and something we're all very excited about.
Yes, we are just jumping out of the call a few minutes back, and they got amazing team who's working and also implementing the tech. And what I can say here is, because we are providing the APIs to help the different clients to leverage what you just talked about with that can be the audio, video, and text combined insight and sentiment analysis. And it is so much, I would say, the proud moment to see that's coming live and it's going to impact people's lives. So those are the really great moments for all of us.
Anyone else? I know Vatso and I are sort of the most involved in that process, but Tim, you've been doing some great work on the back end to enable these things to take place. The silent man contributing, and hopefully you actually attend some of these meetings and meet some of these people that you sort of say, Tim, you missed an awesome thing, and and rub it in your face. No, if not, if no thoughts on there, like this. Okay, I was pre-warned to we want to come and have a more in-depth discussion about this. So I'm pre-setting this agenda, but there's been a couple instances with MindCure, several other organizations this week, and then even just through a drift chat we have from someone on the site who is asking about this idea of sentiment analysis. What is sentiment analysis? How is it? Where did the original data set come from? How are the results produced? Is there clinical validation to these results when looked at through a healthcare lens? And I just wanted to have an opening introduction because this is a huge topic, and sentiment analysis will continue to have an impact across many industries in the world in general. And just wanted to open up a small chat that then will, I believe, develop into another more dedicated call and talk, and then also some resources on our site for people to fully understand what sentiment analysis is, why we care about it, and then the opportunities, but also the challenges there. Tim, go ahead.
Well, one thing that's I definitely am outside of the loop, but it's been technically from internal standpoint, working with Vatso closely on actually refactoring what we've already built to a degree and building on top of that. As just Vatso mentioned in his introduction, it's our work is all about learning and implementing it right away. And it's rarely the same thing because we have different customers, clients, and we work in all directions at once. And it's a good and a bad thing at the same time. But what's been a major mindset shift for me was that we've actually worked on something we've already developed on half. We've improved upon it. So that was great. Yeah, that's the only thing I can tell you about the project. So let's jump into the SA, as in part of our natural language processing pipeline, and the thing that at 𝗕ecie we care about a lot. And that's not only to, thinking about this, some people would consider it stalking on them, the machines understanding your moods, but at the same time, this opens up technically it opens up this personalization aspect of any product, as well as just, yes, thank you, Nihal, SA meaning sentiment analysis. It opens up these pathways to personalization, and I'll just leave it here at this. Would you like to pick up from here, Tyler?
But Lauren, you had something to say. I'll let you have anything that, or are you done? You can.
Well, I don't want to change the conversation too much. I was just curious about like how Mindcure and how nonfiction these people use our system probably the most, how they're using sentiment analysis really, and what problems are they running with sentiment analysis that they have to, get us to overcome from them, I guess.
Yeah, no, and it's great, Lauren, always bringing us to the right direction. So he didn't reroute the conversation too much. I think this is important and part of the discussion with Mindcure today that also made me at least want to have some introduction to it. And also another larger organization in healthcare this week that, in a great way, had a lot of questions around sentiment analysis and how it was produced. And at a core level, what healthcare organizations are trying to understand is, can sentiment analysis be used as like a diagnostic tool? And as of today, at least the way that we've implemented, we do not believe so. It's more of a quick identification or navigation, or if you have, for example, hundreds of hours of audio, video, or just paragraphs and paragraphs of text, what can you quickly surface up to the top that are the most positive or are the most negative moments to flag or be indicators or alerts that can help you hone in on, again, moments of positivity or moments of negativity quicker. And with a lot of practitioners, or if you look in hospital systems, and again, this is specifically through the lens of healthcare, they're always overrun. They're always overwhelmed. There's always more people that they need to treat and take care of than they can most likely possibly handle. And so for systems to help them sift through all that information and try to give them indicators that can help them reduce the time it takes to provide care, but also hone in on doing better care, that's where we're seeing the value here. So we see that, but there's also challenges, and I think there's risk. What we've talked about is in the bias of artificial intelligence, and for example, inaccuracy of a transcript leading to inaccurate sentiment analysis, which means something could be missed. And these are the issues that you don't want to have, especially in a healthcare environment. Much different, I would say. I'll just add one point then. Where is sentiment most used today is like consumer grade or marketing or social media listening, like scanning the internet, scanning web, scraping the web, scanning Twitter, and trying to find moments where your customers hate you, basically, and identifying like problem areas in customer service to then intervene with, for example, a real person compared to a chatbot agent. Like that's the most typical use case that we're seeing today, but that's going to continually change, especially as the analysis gets better. So I'll stop for a second.
And we could also dig a little deeper into this problem and to define the issue with when you do analyze sentiment of a person or just analyze speech overall. Say you would count how many times he would say you, we, I, or any other words. You sort of have this understanding of what the person is at that particular moment in time in that situation. But as Tyler just mentioned, the problem is that there are so many patients and there are so many hours in a day doctors have. And so what one of the things that we're seeing is that the more data we have accumulated throughout different situations in a lifetime, ideally, the more accurate the analysis and the results of comparison between particular periods of time are. And the differences between those is where the diagnosis lies. Yeah, that was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would actually put the sentiment analysis in two buckets. The one, when we talk about the medical records, we need to understand the language they use in the clinics and how much we understand through the lens of the context around what's going on and how we can manipulate that part. And the second bucket is what you touch upon is sort of a marketing and analyzing the Airbnb data set, Twitter data set, and see what's going on, how people react at what time, and what is the sentiment for any topic. So you can surface the insight, but when it goes to make any decision, for example, hiring someone based on the sentiment analysis, that's a part where things go tricky. You need some more context around before you make any decision. If you lose that contextual part, that's where we see the problem. And for the medical records, what also team talk about is having more data and understanding about the language and the words and how we can manipulate and label those records. For example, if we have the records of 250K different sentences where they talk about in the clinics or in the hospitals, and if we label it properly, there is a very high probability that the sentiment analysis will be very high accurate in terms of the results.
Yeah, and I think, we're, what is interesting, as Tim pointed out here, which is just like there's a state in that moment that sentiment can, sentiment or any analysis can be run, and that represents that moment. But what I think is important, as what is like Tim talked about, is previous instances or context, or what we're seeing as a big one is like change in it. So if there is, if someone was, fully, full positive sentiment throughout the last 6 months, and then all of a sudden there's a massive drop, then there's more opportunity for a flag there, or something of value to be created, or a notification or an alert to then sift through all that information and provide at least a flag, which at that point a human needs to come and override. A human needs to come and make a decision and intervene. But I think to put it isolated in a moment, or take one text note and analyze the sentiment on that, for example, there's a big gap in that. And I think as we've gotten deeper into analysis, deeper into AI, you start to learn where there needs to be, why there is such big talks about ethics and AI and responsibly building these systems, because you don't want to see wrong decisions made. This can truly impact people's lives. I'll add, this couple quick things into here that are really sticking out to me right now, which is the person who talked to us on Drift today said, I don't know who this person is, but asked about the sentiment analysis too. And we've had this discussion a little bit before, was like, is this sentiment including tonality? Is it including, speech pace and all these other items that can be done through audio analysis and then combined with the actual speech to text, or the text that can be said? And right now the answer is no. And so right there alone, there's a gap in the sentiment analysis that's being done, and shows again the challenges that are there. So the example I've used in the past is, I could say I hate you. I could say that laughingly and say that to Lauren as a joke, or I could say that seriously to 𝗕𝗏 because I hate his shirt. And those are two very different things, but the sentiment would be the exact same. And these are these barriers and breakdowns that we're seeing. One other layer of that is the sentiment analysis with just positive, negative, and neutral, which is flagging those indicators. But there's another layer that is going to try to classify those into emotional structures that we see, the main 6 categories of emotions. And Tim and I played around with some multimodal, well, not multimodal, actually, just acoustic analysis of voice last week. Can't really share any of that yet, but it was awesome. It was a ton of fun. But I would say, Tim, at least in our first MVP prototype, not that accurate. And through some of the research that we've seen done by larger organizations, multimodal analysis combining audio and the text always produce the best results. So there's a whole system that needs to be built before this can be reliably done. That's all. I'm sorry. I know you didn't want to get too deep on this conversation. That was
no. That's the point, where is like, for example, as a human, we all, when we see each other, there are so many variables we put into the consideration. Before I say that, Tim's mood is X or Tyler's mood is Y, we have so many variables we can see visually in the voice by their expression, right? So, of course, there are so many variables missing when we just talk about the sentiment analysis that can be pure text. Another example would be the weather was so horrible, but the hike was great. So you're talking about the hiking is a great part, but that is a very high probability that the system and machine will consider as a negative sentiment because the weather was horrible, right? So, and when we say in the context with the emotions and the joy, that's where the game changed. But there are so many, you need to put so many conditions or the requirements before making any decisions, because, how long you're going to take a consideration when we also, I don't want to go into deep for the MVP thing, but when you take the 2-second clip, 5-second clip, 10-second clip, 15-second clip, how things vary. what is the minimum viable thing for make a decision at what second? Because for example, if I'm trying to create a stage, I might talk about few seconds before I say anything, but the real part is after that, and you already make a decision that, oh, this is amazing, but something was still coming. So how yeah, those things is pretty.
Yeah. Even just the weight, where does the weight go? Is it at the start of the sentence or at the end? If the weather was horrible but the hike was
Correct.
great, what's more important, right? And Lauren probably didn't answer your question, but what if you saw this week we were working on a little new slide deck, and thankfully you said, Tyler, that's not really a problem that you've described, and I switched it to more fit that problem state. And the true at the one more like core level is there's just too much information. It's too much information to handle for every organization and then individuals. And the quicker you can identify and flag the information that matters, the more efficiently we can all move forward and make, as 𝗕𝗏's put, better decisions faster. And so that's the goal that we're trying to get to. There's some work to be done, and that was illustrated this week through some lines of questioning, which were wonderful. And then also, just what we're seeing, how organizations are implementing sentiment or just AI in general. I'll bucket it there. That's all I got for now. I think that's it. Lauren, 𝗕𝗏, anything on your side that you want to discuss? The floor is yours. Either I've asked both of you, so either you can say anything.
I just all I'm thinking about mostly is the two different roles that we're focusing on: the business development role, where we had some candidates already for that, and also the UI UX designer. So I'm just exploring some grants at the moment. Curious to see what you guys want out of these roles, essentially. Like what kind of problems are we facing right now, and how are we overcoming that problem with these roles here?
Which one do you want to start with?
We're probably farther along with business development anyway, so if you want to talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a business development representative job position out right now. It's on LinkedIn. It's on Indeed. Posted somewhere so you can see. We've actually got some applicants this time, which is wonderful. Last time, we posted this while we were in parallel while we were hiring for marketing, which we are proud to say is a wonderful hire, and so glad to have him here. And that sort of the prioritization on the marketing and finding a great candidate for that led to that sales representative job listing sort of fall by the wayside. And what I was talking to 𝗍𝗲 yesterday was I don't know if it's even the language that was used to describe the position. So 𝗕𝗏 and Lauren helped me clean up the listing just to describe the role, but we also changed it from inside sales representative to business development representative. I'm not sure if that shift, has made the change for more people willing to apply, or if it's just the time of year, or what exactly that is. But one of the things that we've learned about is this idea of learn fast. And the faster you learn, the faster you grow. And even this week, I was saying to 𝗍𝗲 that there was a company, an alternative, that a customer that we were really interested in with large audio analysis needs ended up going with an alternative. But they were nice enough to give us the reason why. And to be honest, with the reason why, it made a lot of sense. It was like, that makes perfect sense why you chose that solution over ours. But that was a learning lesson, and that was through the sales process that lesson came about. And so the reason why this business development representative is so important right now is because we want to learn faster. I would love to get that person, reach out 25, 50 people a day and get 45 no's, and then 3 demos, and then, and then 1 sale. That doesn't matter as much as that we learn along the way and we figure out how can we provide more value? Where are the things that we've solved a true problem versus where are the things that we've just created solutions in our imagination? And I think we're getting better by asking the right questions, but until we get that real-time feedback with, with potential customers, we're not going to learn quick enough. So that's the biggest priority on our side here. I mean, of course, you want to grow the company, you want to increase revenue, you want to be able to add more people to the team. But if at the very least we learn an insurmountable, mountain of information that we can climb through to make our system or company better, that's a valuable, that's a job well done already.
So for this role, are you imagining, or not so imagining, but just expecting that they're going to have some sort of involvement with like customer success? Like it's not just a matter of they're selling to customers once they're in the door, then they're not having the conversations with them anymore. They're moving on to other sales then.
It's a great question. You know, I think in a more sophisticated organization, not that we're not sophisticated, but a more mature organization, there are people who are. So I did this with ZoomInfo. I didn't even know this, but like ZoomInfo someone reached out to me, booked a meeting, got on a meeting with someone else. And then when they tried to close the deal, it was someone else. So like they smoothly maneuvered along that process, but there's people who are literally the closers, there's the lead generators, and then there's the middle demo people too. And you know, that's where we would love to get. In truth, this position will be more, I guess, a full stack salesperson. I would say responsibility would also come to us to also ensure customer success. So ensure that we've set the team member up with the requirements of what's going to make a successful customer. Like very interestingly, I believe it was HubSpot changed how they managed sales success to not just be number of sales, but to be the net promoter score of the contracts that were sold by that salesperson. Because who cares if you sell if that customer just leaves because it wasn't a proper diagnosis in a good sale, and then that's actually bad for the business and organization. So that's, if we set up the parameters right, then they will sell to the right people and we can deliver on the value. And then what we hope is through live chat, through documentation, through support, and through the application design that we enhance the customer success, we ensure that customer success. Hope that makes sense. Hope that answers the question. It'll be a big role. It's going to be a big role. I think we're pointing them in the right direction to the kind of organizations and people they want to reach out, so they don't feel lost and that they're too diluted with the efforts. And I think that's the focus of growing a sales engine that is delivering value, is focus and making sure that there are the right people.
You don't have to answer this question if you think it's inappropriate, maybe, but what kind of like 𝗏𝗫𝗃 nonfiction again? What kind of people do they do business with as well, and how can we interact with those other people too, or businesses rather?
It's a good question. I'll give, you know, the two examples that we've seen to date. Like there's some relationships that I've previously built over several years with organizations like 𝗏𝗫𝗃, specifically in this weird niche of psychedelic markets, which will continue to grow. But we're not specifically a psychedelic company. We're a technology solution and a provider for organizations and individuals who are trying to manage media libraries and make more use out of them. And especially if those media libraries, most importantly, those media libraries have language in them. Like that's one of the sort of conditions. Like if it's just like an animated drawing with no voiceover or anything, we're not that valuable, to be honest. So there's like that part. Generally, we're looking for organizations with media libraries that are already pre-existing, or they're constantly creating media. That audio and video data is a powerful one because then they use our automated speech to text to turn that to speech to text. They can use our human transcription team to then clean that up to 100%, and then either publish that in, client reports, like what we're seeing nonfiction do amazingly, or they're actually turning that into content that is published on the web, with one of the streams that we're seeing there be accessibility. So if you're an organization over 20 or over 50 in Ontario, just as an example, there's AODA standards where if you have audio on your site, you need to have a fully accurate transcript included. And we're seeing multiple organizations already, as we put together some lists and some ideas of who this person can reach out to, who are not doing that. So there's also this level of urgency there. There's urgency into ensuring compliance. There's urgency into making your content and your media accessible. And then there's also urgency in that you're missing opportunities to rank on search engines and provide a better user experience, which will help the organization grow. So those levels create a compelling, at least, reach out, an awareness and an understanding, and the idea that there is a provider who can help with that process. Yeah. Okay. Anyone have anything? Yeah, this is not interview Tyler time. You know what? Like I get into every conversation these days and I say, my goal here, guys, at the start of this conversation is to not talk. And here I am.
That
talk
exactly
time.
happens.
Why? Why? I don't
because
want
you said what you said what you don't want to do, right? So usually as a mental model, you do what exactly you said not want to do.
Next week, I don't want to say a word. I want to change the host aspect, and someone is going to have to volunteer, and they're going to be the one who moderates the conversation.
Okay.
So I don't know who that's going to be. You will manage this conversation. Yeah. Does anyone have anything else to add about the business development representative?
Yes, just want to echo on your points. Is like what you said. One word is like sort of a full stack BA, business developer person, right? So we, as an early stage, and also in the in our environment, we need a person who also can talk to the companies and the organizations which we believe, and at the same time also manage a couple of user sort of a support or a a role under a customer success department. So that is sort of a balance because we don't have any unique role or any individual person other than Tara who just talk with the customer and make sure things are going well on their side, and anything we can improve or provide more solutions to them in the existing environment. So I think that's going to be sort of a balance between that.
Yeah, because even to feed off that, I think one hope from my end that'll come from this BDR role would be someone that is able to talk to customers, both new and existing customers, find out their pain points if we don't already know them, or if there's any new ones that pop up, and that in turn will also help us build out a content strategy around that, right? Like we're already trying to create content that is more user focused, more about helping people find answers. So I think having a solid salesperson who's able to like bring us valuable information as well, beyond just the sales component, will be quite. It'll be an interesting addition.
Yeah, and there's a direct, like we have a very sort of cross-disciplinary, multidisciplinary team where it's like salesperson says, hey, 𝗲𝗏, just got rejected 6 times. They all said that it was because of this. Mm-hmm. We're like, okay, well, we got to figure that out as either marketers, or we need to take this back to the engineering team to figure out why that is. And so working hand in hand, and that just excites me because if we do find the right person who can hit the volume of reach out, but also do that intentionally and thoughtfully, we can solve true problems. It's not just I don't feel, in the past, I sort of hated this idea of sales because it's like, I don't know, but we've built something valuable. We've built something that can help. And so I don't feel bad about selling it or giving people the awareness of the opportunities that are there, or the missed opportunities that they're not currently taking advantage of. So that's very exciting. And even can lend to 𝗲𝗏, who said it's again master of illustration. What pages need to be on our site, or where we're breaking down in documentation or explanation. These are all very powerful things that we know that can build the strong foundation that we need here at Speak.
I think I was just say, like, medium to long term as well. If we want to build a solid growth engine as well, I think having a strong communicator is also going to be quite important, because I think we're small enough that all the departments still talk to each other. So we wouldn't want sales to be living in its own silo either.
Yeah. So I would like to, if we can figure out. Again, there's one of my it's a common concept there, but Peyton Nyquist from Numinous said it to me, and it really always stuck out, which is like, if you can build, one clinic, then we can build 100. And I also think if we can help one person figure out how to sell this successfully, you can get other people. And, I've been able to sell some things somewhat successfully, and it's my role to continue that. But some of those things are more complex relationship, driven sales and relationships. But if we can get a person in this role to be successful, we have figured out one of the hardest challenges of being a company. And so really want to push that. It's going to be hard. They're going to screw up a lot. We're going to screw up a lot. They're going to be like, oh God, this is harder than I thought. And we're going to thought. Timothy, I don't know that analogy to Biosphere Project 93. Very, niche reference. If you want to elaborate, I'll give you a moment.
Well, it's just a fun thought. I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's if you were to consider a business development role to be a tree in the park, and we're the park. So the Biosphere Project was a research-based project. Scientists gathered together under a large glass bowl on top of a small campus, and there was a building, a concrete road, and like a simplistic view of a town, but under a glass ceiling, in terms of it would pass through the sun, but not the wind or anything else. And they found that trees would fall without wind, and wind in this case is the interactions and the sales process itself. The 45 out of 46 demos rejected. That's the wind. And the foundation that we're trying to build here is, tremor on the roots is supposed to represent the foundation that we're trying to build, spread those roots around.
I did not think you were going to be able to loop that together, but congratulations. Oh, man,
well, we probably could post that on the job description if anyone gets it. And
yeah, there we go. We know we got the right person.
Right.
Okay, so everyone feel, this would be a wonderful opportunity for this person to join, a team that is doing awesome work, that it loves working together and has something valuable to offer. So it's nice to be able to sell something that is changing lives and making an impact. So welcome any applications. Look forward to discussions and just learning from you, hopefully as you learn from us. So that, I guess, concludes business development representative.
Yes.
Spent more time on that than I thought, but well, let's go to answer Lauren for once, because usually he asks a question and then Tim and I talk for 5 minutes and then we forget what Lauren asked. There's also this need for a designer, what's the role title? Do we have the specific role title?
I am looking for a person who is more aligned with the UI part at this moment, because we do need to understand the user research and stuff, but at the same time we want to talk about connect the second point with the business development, and the person is like, we want to talk with the more businesses, more people around that, and understand the language and the problems. Yes, we do know a couple of things, but are we missing anything? Should we know anything? We should know anything we can improve on. So what we are looking at this moment is like, yes, the sales marketing things going on, but we need the backup at this moment to have someone who can focus on the UI part at this, during this time. The reasons are, number one, we can do a lot of coding, and we did for this many times, and that's why we can see this product. But now we want to experiment things before we write any single line of code. We want to value because we do have a lot of things we can work upon, but how we are going to see as a visually before it goes into the front end, on the front end. So that's one thing. Second thing, prove the hypothesis before we put on the system, we deploy on the production. Prove those hypotheses by talking with the team, see what does that mean, how does that look like, is that make sense, how we can improve that. And we see throughout our own experience too, it's like that's how the things work, and you can improve a lot before writing any single line of code. Other than that is like, you can combine a lot of creativity before, because what happened so far is like, we have our own biases for the system, through the product, through the designing, through the things, how it works, and we put it where, and that's how we build the system. But we do have the opportunity now to put on the paper, share a paper to everyone, hey, what do you think, and create a conclusion which makes sense to everyone. So those are the things we want to prove first. And once we have that label and more opportunity to hire a very unique role as a UX person, we can go through the direction. But again, to echo on that, we need the UI have more focus on the UI, but also have some knowledge in the UX side. So if the business developer person is like, hey, I talked with organizations, they went this, and that, so that that person go and ask any technical question around the product and converting to the prototype for them before we make any conclusion. Yeah, if anyone have any other
Say
thoughts,
that.
but these are the things very much looking forward to have someone on a team now.
To maybe to feed off of that, the pipeline looks quite simple. We do have a desire for a very strong sales team, and it's already quite Tyler is doing an excellent job, but afterward we feed it into the product strategy that on the most part is still under development. And this product strategy that Leon is working upon, as far as I understand, fortunately, we don't have him here to join in this wonderful conversation about just the pipeline of development and how our business operates, especially the engineering side. But yeah, so the role has to, the person has to fulfill the UX research side, not only talk to the team, but talk probably to the customers, see if your idea how to lay out your visual design of one of our components, or maybe the whole system eventually, works. So yeah, that's very much it. Yeah, if you like talking to people and figuring out quantitatively or qualitatively whether your idea is a good one, besides your personal opinion, which we all do have, and then helping us out with a design system, quite low to the ground, working with us engineers. Or if you want to span in any of those areas, you're interested in learning UX, UI, or working with a developer team, it'll be a pleasure to onboard a person who's as curious as us.
Other things are like we need a person who just not talk about the things, but who do the real things on, let's say, on the Figma. We have like 30 pages right now on the system. Just create all those pages and see what we can improve the things on the system, right? Because you can talk throughout 6 months to different customer and you don't create anything. We want to do the reverse. And sort of a balance between that is like, we want to create the prototypes, at least for us to remove our own biases from the system and create in such a way that it's all at least work, unless we can talk about thousands of customers in a month. So yes, we want to talk with the customer, at the same time, we want to create those templates for our own products, because we already have a quite bit of code bases to manage that throughout maintaining the design system. And sometimes you try your best to manage that, but sometimes it just keep from your pocket about some small components which might create a different experience for the users. So it is going to be a lot of raw work, to be honest, to creating those templates and design system in the beginning. But once everything is set up, then what team talk about is talking with the customers, like then change is like, oh, this is what we are thinking about. Does that make sense to them before touching the code bases?
Technically, Vatsil was alluding to A/B testing. A is what we have now, B is what could be.
Lauren, I feel like we answered your question.
Yeah, more than enough. Thank you.
Is that true? Yeah. And I'll say, who needs a graphic designer when we've got 𝗕旄𝗄's stellar eye. Look at these. Look at this. Amazing. Look at the change on the site that we've seen. Done an amazing job, and very excited about the work that he's done. So maybe we get a little bit of standardization on our fonts and some buttons, but. But from the now I feel like I felt like I had hands with no fingers when I was originally designing the first website, like or the multiple iterations. It's nice to see someone who can do a better job, and we'll continue to enhance our team and bring that stuff together. And it's weird because in some ways, like as an entrepreneur, and like you like this idea of like. Not uncertainty is not the word, and not chaos is definitely not the word, but like you realize the freedom that comes with standardization of components, of style, of branding. Like how much freedom that gives you to then execute and focus on the things that truly matter. So that we look forward to that a lot. So 2 answers for Lauren today. I feel great about that. We're coming up on to the end of time. Nihal, you've been silent. Any thoughts on your side as you wrap up? What week are you on? This is a full month now.
First month, yeah.
Wow.
First month.
Good job,
I made it.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm trying to see if there's anything on our list that we had that we wanted to discuss. If not, from my end, there's nothing too crazy. Like right now, we're trying to build out some use cases and informational content for visitors that land on our site. Because I think previously, when people would come to our site, they had two, like most of the time, they had 2 options. It's either they sign up or they more than likely didn't really visit too many other pages. So now, first steps to try to create more viable touch points for visitors to stay on our website. And once that's done, kind of optimizing those pages for conversion. Once we kind of determine which pages are bringing in people. For instance, we have pages that bring in quite a large number of people, but they're not necessarily relevant to our end goal of actual acquisition, right? So they're good reads, but if they don't, they don't convert, that doesn't really bode well for us.
Yeah. Also, very specific, unique searches that are trying.
Exactly. which honestly, like, in some of the newsletters and stuff I've been reading, it's interesting to see how much the shift, because like this one book I'm reading, I thought it was fascinating how he basically stated, at the end of the day, like there will always be loopholes to algorithms and how Google structures their search engine, but they're getting closer and closer to providing ultimate value to the searcher, where they're getting so good at basically just giving them exactly what they need, right? Whether that's in a featured snippet, whether that's a search box at the top, whether that's a direct link to that section on your page, right? So in a way, the more we keep building, similar to our product, how we're trying to build our product for users on the information side, creating information and a website that speaks to a user's needs, I think are gonna take us quite far. And this is totally a sidetrack and not relevant to what I was talking about at all, but I just got a notification for this thing. Well, it was an article. This company, 𝗫𝗫𝗫.
I've had a couple conversations.
Oh, you
with them,
have?
actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, great people.
Yeah, have you ever seen their product in action, or?
No, this is. So I guess I should share the screen to give some context. Smart headphones to measure focus and work. So 𝗫𝗫𝗫 is an EEG company. They've done a bunch of different things. I'm trying to think what they were. I should have more context. I should stop talking. I have nothing else to say. What do you have to say?
I just thought this was fascinating because I know a while ago we were talking about, I forgot his name, but the 𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫.
Yep.
And it's an interesting thing that maybe one day our software might even be able to live within certain hardware.
That nicely circles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew Tim would come and have something to say.
That nicely circles back to what we've started this whole conversation off of, is the context. And the more data we gather, of different variants of data, EEG included, the more we can get out of it, the more value we can look from that dark data, essentially. I wonder, just as a food for thought, could we have the live pit tech with this gathering our EEG, our mic, having the sound recorded around you, the video, perhaps if we do have nanobots flying around you, who would store it all in your cloud at home somewhere, and then pipe it into speak. Well, I mean, it's just a very long vision of a live bit technology, but it's interesting to see how drones are now being developed to sort of stalk on their own or just fly after a person and monitor. There is something interesting going on.
Look what you did, 𝗲𝗏. What you did. 𝗲𝗏 is actually, we can talk about this another, because I know we're coming another time, but it's been building some visualizations based off his Aura ring and a couple of things that's very fascinating. I don't know if you've even shown Tim that. Maybe you've been too scared.
I think I did.
You don't need to bring it up. I apologize if you didn't want to talk about that yet. But really interesting. But the question that 𝗲𝗏 again has is great. All this data is being produced, but now what? What context is there? Is there any, okay, I see 𝗲𝗏. Okay, all right. Looks like.
Are you
going to share it?
Sure.
Okay. Wow, there we go. Okay, this is
so this is basically quite a bit of analysis and analytics of my personal life. Yes, I will say in a second.
Okay.
But just giving a little context before that is you will see quite a bit of the activity and tracking with this Aura ring and the applications I'm using and tracking using the rescue time. And I'm sharing my screen now, as you can see. So this is basically tracking using the third-party application, start with the activity, and the activity data track using the Aura ring. So I can see, and I'm trying to understand, and I found that so far is usually Monday. I don't move that much, and so those are the trigger points I'm trying to understand. So you can see on Tuesday, I just moved not even 1.5 hours. So I improved this way to make sure that I move at least 2 hours. So I'm making sure those small triggers which can improve the life, and then see the bigger picture. My goal here is to just improve the small things so that it can have the compound effect at the end. This is the productivity data is tracked using the rescue time, which will show the total time spent on the screens. That is phone actually, and also my laptop, not the work machine I'm spending. So probably that's why it's in between into the total durations I spend on the screen. The development time, I use the Waka time, which is the integrations you can do using any VS Code, any IDE, any editor, and integrated with the VS Code. And it shows me how many hours throughout the day I spend writing actual code. So it doesn't count if you just keep your editor open. This is not going to count if I have my editor open. So that is the piece, and I can see by month, or I can see by year, or it's just showing the April because I just started from this month. And the last piece is the sleep, about in the different stages, deep stage and stuff. And I can see weekly or the monthly to understand the pattern. And one thing I realized, it's pretty interesting. I'll see probably the next year in 2022. My sleep went up in March actually. So I want to see what's going to happen in 2022. So just interesting, those things. And you can see in the Apple, we are almost done for a month. And the readiness score this is not actually the correct with this labels, but I will update that one. So yeah, this is, I'm trying to track. So, okay, why I showing this is now I want to understand this is happening behind the scene, right? This is happening every single second throughout the day. So what are the triggers I'm missing here? What are the things I can improve through looking at my own data? And this is all stored for months now. And how those triggers can help me every day in my activity. I just want to improve for tomorrow. I'm not worrying about the next week. So if I improve tomorrow, that will have the more compound effect at the end. So yeah, I'll take a pause here and.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, 𝗲𝗏, but thank you for sharing.
It's really cool.
A couple of things that are missing though is the activities from Aura. So Aura actually gathers and does suggest you using some algorithms on their end. What did you do in terms of, okay, was it a moderate, or was it an easy moderate exercise, or was it an easy walk? And that's like the time is great, but the intensity is missing on some part. Plus, I wonder.
Where you can see the lines. It's not actually hovering the graph, but
oh, it's just there's too much of moderate activity.
You can see now here calorie activity and how much I stats and stuff.
Oh.
So you can see by the lines about the intensity of this activity from the aura. But yeah, it should be let's say some different colors.
That's it. We're missing the inputs which actually trigger that, the cause and effect thing. There's no loop established right now. Cause and effect could be established with something like MyFitnessPal. How many glasses of water did you drink to walk so much to the bathroom so many times a day? But on the other hand, it's also drugs. We're missing this part. I would imagine that aura would pick up less REM sleep if you smoked a joint or otherwise. There is a lot of work ahead of, and there's still so much data to gather together and compile.
To just clarify for my audience who's gonna listen in my family too, I don't need the last part to make the joints.
You know what? Leon would kill us right now. And no, of course, this stuff fires us up, and what's interesting is, it's hard to contain ourselves when we get into this stuff, because now we're actually getting approached by organizations to help implement some of this into their own systems. Mm-hmm. So it's like Vatsal's not just doing this for his own enjoyment, which he definitely is, but there are direct applications to this. And to me, what sticks out there is, as we've talked about earlier in this, was like context or events or triggers or things that provide context to why. So if you just look at those graphs, it's very hard to look back, especially if you go further out. If you were in August and you look back at April 28th, you have no context of what happened there. So there needs to be another input. And for me, the input that I always believe was powerful was audio, video notes, or even text notes with description, more qualitative description that can be matched with that. And then what became beautiful in Speak was the tagging part, which can become events. So, for me, it was like, if I'm in a good mood, it was because I'm listening to Spotify, I've got incense on, and, I had a great conversation with Vatsal. You know what I mean? Those could be 3 tags or events or factors that then add context to the other data that's being shown there. So
the closest application so far in the market I saw is, I saw it everyone, is like the exist.io. So they have at least 20 different types of integrations, including the music, your every single point, maybe what you're reading on your phone. So you can also track the books and stuff. But Tyler, I don't know if there is a way to talk with the team. I believe they are in Australia, and create an integration for the Speak. So you can use your audio, video, and clip data on Exist. And they have the beautiful way to showcase the sentences, right? And here, what you can showcase is the keywords. So on this, whether you use what you talk about XYZ words, or maybe the sentiment analysis from the Speak. So sort of what I'm talking here is the marriage between the Exist and Speak AI to surface these insights.
Amazing stuff. It really
Maybe
is.
One day, if we can
see what we can do. See what we can do. Okay, it's 1:03. How did this happen? We'll bucket this for another discussion. God, I use the word bucket. Bucket has come up. See, this is the interesting part about Speak too. I've said to Neil the other day, where did bucket come from? All of a sudden I start saying this word. I have no idea where it came up. I would like to know the first time it ever emerged. And now that it's come up, I want to reduce the use of that word. And then the other part is, I notice if like someone says a word, then other people on the team start using that word too. So really interesting case studies of like someone says bucket, then all of a sudden the team keeps saying bucket. And it's like bucket per conversation went up 30%. There's so many fascinating, I love this stuff so much. And again, we will rein this in and hopefully Leon doesn't watch this last 20 minutes and do it. I have to add one last part from myself, which was one of the most glorious parts to this week for me. It was actually this morning. I had to deliver some transcripts to a team, and that in the past took me maybe an hour. Today took me 6 seconds. It was amazing. It was glorious. I love technology. Love you guys. I said this in the morning already, but
Just
like,
can you just talk about in a minute or two about how who's listening? What does that mean? What does that mean
sorry,
to them?
yes, this makes sense. Before, take a file. We started the first iteration of Speak. You could upload one file at once. You could transcribe that one file, and then you're lucky if when that file comes back with the transcription and then a decent analysis. Then we did multi-file upload. Take 10 files at once, dump it into the system. Increases the impact of the system and also decreases your effort to do it. The other part, though, that came very clear was when someone's ordering human transcription, we were approving individual files on the front end through the interface, which took a long time because it would have to merge and then reanalyze everything. And if you have 20 files, that time in the app adds up a lot, and truthfully, a little bit frustrating. So what it becomes important, especially as we work with larger organizations and media libraries, is bulk management of files in media. And so Tim, after I came in and yelled at everyone at the start of the week on Monday, I didn't yell at everyone. I just yelled at myself, really. And then thankfully have people on the team who listen. Was that you can now multi-approve the transcripts that humans have done. Our wonderful team has done. And instead of going through each individually and taking, say 20 minutes, you can do a multi-click approval. That's in our back end right now, but it's coming into the client interface, and do that in 6 seconds. And the final step that is coming here, which is multi-export. So multi-export of Word docs or PDFs. It really just, the idea is get something in the system and then give a beautiful way to get it out, and make that intuitive, easy, and be able to do more at once. And with the help of Tim, with the help of 𝗏𝗀𝗀, that was realized today, and was, again, a beautiful moment. It seems so weird, but it was just like, yes. So thank you guys again. And that allows our customers to manage way more media at once without the frustrations of going through and multi-clicking, and probably getting, honestly, arthritis or carpal tunnel in your hand by all the clicks that were previously there. I don't know if I described that right well. That's the best way.
Just to add on that, for example, as an individual, if you are dumping 10, 15 files, you probably, we do behind the scene a 2-layer of review of the human transcription request. So the first goes to the editor and the second goes to the QA. And that is why this request emerged to multi-approve the human transcription. But at some point, I still believe you still need to go and review at your own to just make sure that the transcription job is done properly. So that is sort of a balance between that. Once you have that experience and the confidence on the system, then you can start doing the multi-approval. But at the same time, if you are doing for the first time, you do have the opportunity to go and review the job. So it is not just like there's a one option, you can do both on the platform.
𝗏𝗏𝗏, I think, can we add the value proposition of Speak of avoid carpal tunnel while managing multiple media files? Yeah, I want that to be the main message.
We can put that in our ad copy.
Okay, this is wonderful. And again, thanks for adding a little bit of clarity there at the vat. So I got too excited about the bulk media stuff. And there's valid reasons to also do individual review and approval, especially for important files. So anyone else have anything to say before we close this up? This is Office Hours 15. This was so much fun. So appreciate again you guys being here.
Just take care and don't travel much. Take care of yourself and also your family. Time is crucial. Just stay in home for next 15-20 days and enjoy your life. That's it.
Thank you, 𝗏𝗀𝗀. Lauren, so glad we got to answer some of your questions today. That makes.
I've got some more, but I can say that for later.
What? Say it.
No, it's gonna worms. Yeah,
okay. Well, I appreciate you being able to have that self-restraint. I know I don't. So, okay, guys. 𝗏𝗏𝗏, you're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
One day, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, I'd like to spend some time, maybe just like all of us, but I know 𝗏𝗏𝗏's joined, but just like the insights that 𝗏𝗏𝗏's gained from coming into the system, or like what we've learned from trying to market, speak and grow a software startup. I'd love to do some like lessons learned on that. And, as 𝗏𝗏𝗏 talked about our dirty sitemap, our 404 errors, all the things that we have to fix up that can make an impact on growth. And Timothy, love the metaphors, the analogy. Good job today. It's awesome. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.